All right, let's go. Wake up. Wakey. Wake up. It is a nice, balmy 35 degrees outside, 20 mile an hour wind chill of about 27 degrees. I think I'll go hang out at the beach. We're supposed to have like a blizzard next week, so the stay where Kyle and I are coming next January to stay in South Florida might extend to February. We'll see. Oh boy. So, what a game last night, huh? I can absolutely not wait for tomorrow night. I mean, Finland versus Sweden is going to be a nice little warm up, but US versus Canada, man, that is just, they're just going to be rocking and rolling. I can't wait to see that. Um, It'll be interesting to see who starts hitting who, right? Because, you got Eichel and Chuck, and you got Chuck. Remember, Eichel knocked Barkov around a little bit last night. I know Tkachuk and Mikkola came together a couple of times. I think that was Mikkola that Chucky beat in front of the net for his second goal. Hey, NASCAR, it's going to be beautiful, isn't it? It's going to be a beautiful thing, I think. Man, I can't wait. Just everybody got to stay healthy, right? It's one thing if Chucky gonna bump into Mikkola. Don't be going after Reinhardt though, right? Got to stay the hell away from that. But then Eichel took advantage, hitting Barkov like that. He's like, Chucky's on my team, so nobody can do nothing to me. So that was funny. I mean, Barkov's okay, but at least nobody got hurt like the first game, right? At least nothing. Think Eichel did get cut on the nose, right? I guess he got high stick and nobody caught it, I would assume. And it'll also be interesting to see how Finland handles their goalie situation, if they're going to stick with Saros or what they're going to do from there. I would kind of think I think everybody might stay the same, right? Did the teams have the option to not carry three goaltenders? Because I know it just seems like that's a lot of goalies when you take into consideration that you're not allowed to bring anybody up. You're not allowed to add anybody to the team unless three guys get hurt. And you got one extra, Canada had one extra defenseman, but two extra goalies. I understand having two goalies, but the rules seem a little bit prohibitive in terms of being able to add guys. Chopper. So it's funny. He says we got to find a way to get Brady now. That's what I do in the members podcast. I can't give it away, but I did trade for Brady Tkachuk during the members podcast. Yeah, Tkachuk and Chucks. Exactly. I like that, Vincent. The Tkachuk and Chucks. That's beautiful. Yeah, Chopper. In the members podcast, I got Brady. I found a way. Right, Kenneth? I think Mikkola forgot what team he was on. He was even facing the net when he did it. I mean, if you watched that shot and Mikkola's tip and you didn't know, it looks more like Mikkola is trying to deflect the puck in for a goal than it does that he's trying to play defense. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's in that box that they gave Chucky. Chopper says for Hagee, Sordiv, Giles in the first. No, I got a deal. But see, no, I don't want to give it away. Chopper says Mikkola thought that was a regular Panthers game and tipped Tkachuk's man. Yeah, I know, right, Chopper? Yeah. Good game, though. I mean, it's a shame the way it ended up, right? It's a good first two periods. U.S. versus Canada is going to be so nasty, though. Oh my gosh, it is. I mean, between what's going on politically and a couple of people booing the anthem and all of that stuff, it's going to be just people are going to be knocking people around, man. Right now, Trocheck wasn't all that active last night. I kind of expected him to be a little bit more active, and kind of join in on the fun there a little bit. Then I thought it was interesting that on one end you had Trocheck, and on the other end you had Haula and Luosterainen, because that's half the trade, right? That was half of the Luosterainen trade, or half of the Trocheck trade. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I wonder if they're going to keep the Chucky boys together, because it worked last night, because Finland don't really have the roster that Canada does. But if you go too top heavy against Canada, Austin Matthews is going to have to play. Not that he played bad, he played well. But Austin Matthews is really going to have to play well, because he's going to have a lot of responsibility on himself, because, you take that. I mean, the second line for Canada with Stone and McKinnon and Crosby, it's like, on what planet, right? That was the second line, right? Well, I'm remembering that correctly, right? Yeah, because McDavid's the first line. So, even if you put the Tkachuks on the same line and they go up against the top line, then you got Matthews going up against McKinnon with Crosby and them. Right? He had an extremely rare moment where Matthew gave a shove to Barkov, right? Hold on a second. I get to chat. It's weird. Like 8 comments just came in at once. Vincent says, first off, Brady has to play Matthew and say he's not signing in Canada. Otherwise, Ottawa is moving up, right? I know, Chopper. It was, right? Yeah, I involuntarily yelled "don't" when Chucky and Barkov got into a mini scrum near the start. Hi, Bridget. Metal says, by the way, Canada's practice lines today include Marchand and Bennett with Bennett and Jarvis. Okay. Hey, Silva. Thank you, bud. Vincent says, Canadian media keeps telling everybody best on best, best on best. What do you mean? What a disgrace. Chopper says, I think people misinterpreted what Chucky said before the game. I think he meant he wouldn't spare his Panther teammates from scoring goals and robbing them of the puck. No, I think we knew what Chucky was going to do, man. He ran into Mikla. He beat Mikla in front for that second goal, I believe. How you doing, Simon? Boy, I think Sweden's going to beat Finland. I mean, I hate to say it with all those Panthers, but the difference between how Sweden got better as the game went on, Finland did not. And that's going to be a tough game. But I think I like Sweden there. And then with U.S. versus Canada, I don't know, man. That's going to come down to some craziness. I think there's going to be a lot of goals scored in that game. I wouldn't want to be the goaltender in that game. Vincent says Sweden and Finland rosters realistically can't compete. Yeah. I mean, Sweden had their best opportunity in game 1, because they could have won that game in regulation. They came damn close to winning that game in regulation. Sweden's best hope is if they can beat Finland in regulation and United States beats Canada in regulation, then Sweden will actually have a legitimate chance at the championship game, depending on what United States does when they play Sweden. Because if United States beats Canada in regulation, they've clinched the championship round. So by the time we play Sweden, not saying we'll be resting guys, but we'll have an opportunity kind of to pick which team. It could lay out that way. It could be a situation where if the United States loses or if they go to overtime against Sweden, that could be the determining factor of having Sweden in the championship game instead of Canada. So not that any of those guys are going to lose on purpose, obviously, but it's going to be interesting how it shakes out, because Sweden could be in a situation that last game against the United States, they could be in a position where if they just get to overtime, they would be in the championship game. Kenneth says, I wonder how the Canadian power play would stack up against NHL teams. Good God. Right? I mean, even if you put the Panthers all-star PK out there, if you had Barkov, Lundell, Luosterainen, Mikkola, that's 4, right? Because if you're PK and there's 4. Even against Barkov, Lundell, Luosterainen, and Mikkola, that Canada power play, it's just too much. It's just too much. When you basically have Reinhart and McDavid as decoys, just, you know what I mean? It's just too much. Vincent says, isn't that tampering? I mean, I'm not saying they're going to lose on purpose. Not saying they're going to lose on purpose. Cade said, seeing Finland last night was tough to watch. That being said, congrats, Americans. Meadow says, how much of last night was the Finland collapse versus U.S. turning it on? I think it was just a bad couple minutes. I think once it got to 3-1, Finland was toast. And I think the next 3 goals, 4-1, even 3-1. I mean, the Chucky goal, you give up the goal right off the bat on the power play. That had to be disheartening because Finland had played pretty well up to that point, and all of a sudden now they find themselves down 2 goals, and then boom, Saros gives up that 5-hole to Gensel, and the game was over at that point. The game was completely over at that point. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. From Friedman, Shea Theodore's injury timeline is pretty close to the playoffs. Rinse and repeat. Yep. Silva says mouthwash in the third line for Finland is really, really rough. Yeah, they just don't have enough players, right? Oh, Simon, so you're asking how I think the Panthers are going to do? I think they might come back hot. I think they might come back. Chucky may never check back out of playoff mode, you know, especially because if you look at our schedule in March, it's very light. It's very thin. Not saying easy teams, but we have a lot of time off in March. So Chucky may not ever come back off of playoff mode. He may just stick this way the rest of the way. iDog says, I need that Tkachuk line so bad. The problem, iDog, is the only way to get Tkachuk this year is you got to send Bennett. That's instrumental in the deal. And then you have to go Lundell, Tkachuk. Right? I mean, Bennett, Tkachuk would be, how are we going to do that? You'd have to send Bennett, unless you're going to send Lundell. I don't know about that, because then you still got to sign Sam Bennett. I don't like that idea. Kate says it's not their fault. They really can't compare. Yeah. No, I agree. They Sweden especially really, really hung tight. Kate says they really did. Soros was holding his own for a while. Unfortunately, he's cursed with lackluster defense again, right? Chopper says no sick for Brady, 1-for-1 trade. It seems fair. I mean, but Ottawa's got to retain all their salary. That's the only way I'll do it. Only way I'll do it. I mean, I guess if we have to throw in Gadjevich, we will. Seems like a fair deal to me. Note on the members podcast, I get into that a little bit today. I just kind of went into that direction because a lot of people talking about, the only way we get Brady Tkachuk, and really this is the time for it to happen. This is how we get Brady Tkachuk. United States wins the trophy, wins this tournament. Brady says, you know what? I enjoyed winning a championship so much with my brother. And he calls up Ottawa and he says, I ain't never coming home no more. Take it easy. Trade me to Florida. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not coming home. I'm getting on a plane with Matthew. Mom says it's approved. So just trade me. That's how we get Brady Tkachuk. Is he has to win the championship with his brother, and he's just so overwhelmed with joy that he just calls Ottawa and says, I'm not coming home. I'm tired of the snow, tired of the cold. I want to go play in the warm and the sun to win the championship, win 5 cups with my brother. I ain't coming home. Trade me. Silva says Brady for Swaggy, and they're going to want a little bit more than that, right? Barkey should have asked Trump to make an executive order so the Panthers can play without cap limits. Well, isn't it crazy how every year Vegas, I mean, we know they're not faking it, right? Not this time. Vincent says a second St. Martin, Ekblad, and Luosterainen for Tkachuk. I thought about that. That's close to what I got to, but I included Sachin, but that's not bad. That's not bad, Vincent. I don't think that would be enough, though. I don't think that would be enough. A second, St. Martin, Ekblad, Luosterainen. I guess if Brady was telling him he's not coming home anymore, that might, right? Chopper says, no, don't trade St. Martin. Exactly, iDog. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Carol. Life is good. Life is good. Vincent says, not Sachin. You'd rather give up Mackey. Well, we can't give up Mackey. I'd rather give up Rodriguez. See, we could play this game all day. I was going to go, where did I get to? See, because Ekblad is not so much of a, is Ekblad a benefit, right? Like, is Ottawa actually going to be like, oh, good, we got Ekblad? Or is it going to be more like, fine, we'll take Ekblad? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not so sure Ekblad sweetens the pot, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not so sure Ekblad sweetens the pot. That's who we're going to send, so the salary is okay. Of course, if you send Ekblad, Chopper says, all right, Luosterainen and Ekblad, sort of Jack Devine in a second. Not Erod, I'd rather give up Uyghur. I got some news for you about Uyghur metal. You're not going to believe this. But cap-wise, who do they have on defense? Kenneth says Brady to Panthers, Bennett to Leafs, Robertson to Ottawa. Oh. I mean, okay. Okay. I mean, okay. You'd rather give up Skrudland. Not Tippett. I'd rather give up Trocheck. Oh my God. I like Kenneth's idea. Now, is that it? Is that like the whole thing? Because if it's Bennett for Brady 1-for-1, I'm not sure. I'm not sure Ottawa does that deal, right? Vincent says, then why you want to keep him? Ekblad is right-handed cone. Some people want that. Not that I say I want to keep him, but in terms of for this year, if we sent Ekblad now, what are we going to do? We better get somebody in, right? So that's all I'm saying is that if we're going to send Ekblad, they got to give us somebody. They got to give us that Martin Paulo, whatever the hell the guy's name is. I looked it up because I was doing this on what's his name? He played last night. Martin Paulo. If you're going to send Ekblad, you got to get a right-handed defenseman in return, at least for the playoffs. So if you get that guy, Nicholas Montempalo, so you go, I was going to go Bennett, Ekblad, and a first, and maybe a prospect for Tkachuk, Cousins, and Martin Paulo. We get Cousins back. They get Cousins back for the fourth line. Just saying. Silva says, what if Zito does nothing? If Zito does nothing, we win the conference, but not the cup. I will make that prediction right. If Zito does nothing, we win the conference, but not the cup. We got to have some extra. We got to have a guy or two to have depth to win the whole thing. Yeah, welcome to the Flying Fluffy Trade Show, right? Chopper says it all depends if Matthew can convince Brady to waive his no trade clause and join his brother in Florida. Yeah, do it, chick. Exactly. What Kenneth says, Ottawa can have Robertson and Reeves. Florida can toss in a fifth. Oh, I'm good. Hi, Simon. Well, remember, Simon, I live in Maryland. We live in Maryland. So I've got probably another 6 weeks before I can get out there and the water will be warm enough and the bass start spawning, or at least moving in. Although I should go out there and see if the shad are running. It's so cold, it's too frozen over. So let me rephrase. As soon as the water defrosts here, we're getting another bad cold spell next week. And then it should start to warm up. And then the shad run will come in. Those are fun because you can just go out there and snag them all day. Vincent says, well, nothing of that is going to happen throughout the season. All we can do is hope to trade Knight to gain some space. No, we can't trade Knight. We got to have a goalie. Chopper says, if Zito does nothing, I'll personally phone him and tell him we could use someone like Adam Boquist on our team. Meadow says we absolutely need a 4C. We need something. I mean, we've talked about this. We need guys. We don't have enough guys to get through a playoff run. Bodies. I mean, we're going to go with Giles and Dalpe as the playoff bench. That can't happen. Right? So somebody's coming. Like we've talked about. Who's the oldest guy in the league without a cup? Got to be somebody. Silva says it'd be so great if we had someone like Montour playing. Yeah, I mean, one more defenseman would be nice. No doubt. No doubt. But they've been doing okay. Chopper says, if Zito does nothing, I'm going to raid the room where they keep the Stanley Cup and erase his name from it. Okay, that's a good idea. Gudis is getting up there in age and doesn't have a cup. Huh. We have enough salary too, because if they retained 50%, Yeah. And then we'd not re-sign. Then we would. Can you imagine a Mikula Gudis pair? Holy crap! Oh my God! I mean, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Jobber for legal reasons. This is a joke. That's a good one, Kate. Gudis is up there. I think he's got one more year on that deal he signed. How many years was it? 3 or 4 that he signed. But if we get them to retain half the salary, yeah, I'd do that. You watch him, Bill? Yeah, and then Gudis and Barkov would be able to do the thing again. Yeah. Yeah, Gudis Mikula, that'd be fantastic. That'd be fantastic. That would definitely solidify some things, right? Chopper says, imagine Gudis screaming into Skinner's face as he scores Stanley Cup winning goal in Game 5. Vincent says, so if Bennett adopts me, then Gudis can be your uncle, right? Dallas extends Sam Steele 2 years, 2.1. That's cheap enough. Either that or we get Krause back for a first. What's he doing? Because I know he's been like a 25-goal guy. I don't know how. That wasn't even like supposed to be like his game. But all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, I checked on him, and it's like this dude's scoring goals all over the place. He's 27. What's he at right now? He's got 8 goals. He's got 8 goals. So he had 20 2 years ago, then 24. Last year he had 23 goals. This year he's only got 8. This year he's only got 8 goals, so he's on a pace for maybe 12, which is bad, which is not fantastic, but I don't blame that completely on him. His time on ice is 14. So what's that, third line player? What's his contract? I mean, that's a guy that would fit, honestly. So Krause is carrying a cap hit of 4.3. And when does it expire? That's a lot of money for him. 27. So he's got this year, and well, this doesn't make any sense. Saying 27 he's a UFA, but over here it says 27, 28. Yeah. So they'd have to eat some salary there. They'd have to eat a little bit of salary there, or we'd have to send somebody else. That'd be an expensive get for fourth line help unless you're going to put him on the third line. Chopper says Tkachuk brothers in Florida would be like, yeah, the Sedin brothers. That's right. Hey, Rosado. Silva says Dale Talon was all right at picking prospects. He built our current core and didn't make any huge drafting mistakes with his trading. Yeah. I mean, Talon look, I don't know what would have happened after the Islanders series. We had a specific brand of hockey we were playing. Do I know if we would win or not? I don't know. But the owners came in, they went with Rowe, they changed everything around, and Talon never really got a good foothold on what to do to fix things after that, which is how Zito got the job. But Talon's fingerprints are still all over the place. Simon wants to know if I could change the Four Nations Cup. Would I keep Sweden, Canada, U.S., and what other team would I put in it? Yeah, I would have been. Well, the only issue with including Russia is then you're pretty much guaranteeing Sweden would be in last place, right? Because just with the Russian goaltenders alone. But yeah, I mean, I get there's all the political reasons to not put Russia in. I think you'd have to have 6 teams, but then the tournament would be so long. Kenneth says Cale Makar misses practice due to illness. Thomas Harley joins Team Canada if Makar is a no-go versus USA. Wow, so that they would be down Theodore and Makar. Holy crap. That's a couple dings to the defense there, right? Silva says, do I think we would have beat the Lightning if we kept Q as our coach? Hard to say. I mean, Vasilevsky was, we can give Bruno all the grief in the world for not changing the power play. But, I mean, it was still a 49-50 save shutout that sealed that deal. Vasilevsky was insane still at that point. I don't know if you can coach your way to we got swept. You know what I mean? I just don't know if you can coach your way to that much of a difference. Vincent says Forsling missed the first practice with the illness too. So Barkov is getting everybody sick still? Still? They're getting better real quick. Gotcha. Yeah, maybe we wouldn't have been swept, but I don't know if we would have beaten them. Rosado says 8 teams. Add Czech. Hold on a second. Add Czech, Russia, Switzerland, and Germany. Would Switzerland have enough players? I don't know if Switzerland would have enough players, though. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Jeez, my chat's all freaking out. All right, let's go back down here. Kenneth makes a really good point. How would you run 4 nations with 8 teams? Well played, Kenneth. Well played. Good point. I didn't catch that one. Now 8 we'd be here all month though, right? They'd have to close the league for the whole damn month of February. And then you're going to be increasing the odds that people get injured, right? And then Bobrovsky would be there, and we don't want him getting worn out. So there's that. I mean, you'd have how do you pick between Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, and Bobrovsky? I mean, you're going to have all 3, but imagine having 2 of those guys on your bench. No raw, I see. Vincent, well, next year, Vincent, I guess they're doing the Olympics. We saw a commercial for that yesterday, I think. Let me see here. 2026 NHL players in Olympics. So the NHL will hold an all-star game in 2026 to send NHL players to the Olympics in Milan, so they won't have an all-star game. The plan is to alternate the World Cup of Hockey and the Olympics every 2 years afterwards. So that's interesting. So yeah, the all-star might be gone, I guess, if that's what they're going to do. I'm good with that. Hi, Alechka. How you doing? Alechka says, "What can we do to get Brady?" The whole members podcast later is about that, and I'm going to end up giving it away. I traded for Brady during the members podcast, so but I think my trade might have been a little bit more than people are willing to give up. Chopper says from Jimmy Murphy, Bruins want a line player, a prospect, and a second-round pick for Brandon Carlo? What? Jeez, come on now. Come on now. Okay. All right, Boston. But if, like I said earlier, the first thing we got to do is United States has to win, right? United States has to win. Matthew Tkachuk assists Brady Tkachuk on the game-winning goal. Brady becomes so enthused about winning a championship. He calls Ottawa, says, I'm never coming home again. Trade me. I'm never coming home again. Thank you, John. Thank you, bud. Thank you, John. He says, have I ever been pinched by an angry crab? No. But I've been bitten by plenty of bluefish taking the hook out of their mouth. And I've gotten finned from pinfish. There are a few things more painful than a pinfish getting you. Oh, man. Early in the morning before the sun comes up, it's cold. Catch a pinfish on the gold hooks. Can't really see all that well. Go to take it off. Bam! Right in the palm of your hand. And now the whole day, you got a hole on the, you're on the pier. What are you going to do? Now you got a hole in your hand the whole rest of the day. Every time you handle a fish, you get salt water on it. It's burning. Damn pinfish. Then they steal your bait anyway. Simon says, what other countries would I put in the Four Nations Cup? So I would do Russia and then maybe like either Germany or Europe combine some teams together. But definitely Russia. But then, the tournament would be so long. That's the problem. Right? And apparently Finland and Sweden hate each other, because if they didn't hate each other, you could combine Finland and Sweden into a run pretty damn good team. I don't think they go for that, right? Vincent says, what if senators are thinking, how can we get Matthew? Can you imagine what Fallen Leafs fans are thinking, right? Yeah, John, the bluefish have nasty teeth. When they would run in the surf by Holliver Pier, that's not there anymore. The surfers would be out there surfing and the bluefish would be running. And a lot of the times the surfers would lose toes because they'd be hanging their feet off the board, and the school of bluefish would just come by and they're just eating. They're just eating anything they see. And I've seen more than once a surfer come out of the water, toe gone. Toe gone. Is the bluefish ate it. Jake says, I got bitten by a snapping turtle. Thank God it was a small one, but it still hurt like hell. I bet. Yeah. I never had it happen, but that's got that. Did they grip on to you? Like, did they hold on? Meadow says 2 continents face-offs, right? Vincent says, well, Finland and Sweden are neighbors, so that's a thing. Yeah, that would make sense. The continents face-off. North America, Scandinavia, rest of Europe, and Asia, basically Russia. All right, Rosado, what's the prediction? Hold on. Why is that happening? My screen is just screwed up here. Okay, let me find Rosado's. Should we do? Oh, you're talking about Europe versus the world? Is that what you're talking about, Rosado? No, hold on a second. Hold on. There's a lot of space in between the 3-4 win in overtime for USA against Canada. Tkachuk cross ice pass on the 2-1 to Brady Tkachuk for the game winner. Yeah, that would work. And then Brady would want to stay, right? That's a good point, Simon. I was talking about that earlier. He's asking about the 3 goalies, especially like in Canada's place. Montembeault is the 3rd goalie. He's never going to play, right? They're not going to put that kid out there. And then with Theodore hurt, I guess you can't call up a guy until 3 guys are hurt. It seems like they could have made the players roster a little bit bigger in case of injuries. Which one, Rosado? Hold on, they're all above. You talking about Europe versus the world? Is that what you're saying? Or above that? Hold on. I gotta stop the whole chat for Rosado. Hold on. I'm going. What? Yeah, you're talking about the chat's jumping too much on me. Hold on a second. It's in so many pieces I can't read it, Rosado. No round robin, just 2 quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the finals 3 matches. That's that 6 teams or is that 8 teams? Rosado, it's okay. You're taking over the chat because there's too many messages. I can't see anybody else's. Jake says you're talking about the turtles, Jake. They usually hang on but let you go after about 3 seconds. Yeah, that's long enough though. That's long enough, right? Oh, it reminds me. We have some neighbors over here. All the dogs have passed. My dogs have passed. Their dogs have passed. But they had a lab, and Ellie and her got into it one day. They were fighting, and I, stupid, but saved Ellie's life. I think I stuck my leg in between them at the last second, and the lab went to go grab Ellie's neck and got my calf instead. And she just held on and started shaking and shaking and shaking. And that, oh my God, that hurt, man. Hurt like a bitch. But I'm kind of glad I did it because it would have been Ellie's neck. And the other dog probably had 20 pounds on Ellie. So it couldn't have been good if she got her by the neck and did that. So I was glad. I was glad it was my calf. But when they hang on like that, Metal says, I missed the stream last night. How many in the chat were talking about us needing Brady? It got fun. It got fun. Hey, Bex. Flyers might be looking forward to moving Kuzmenko. And telling you, Carolina's going to end up moving Rantanen. Kenneth says, like the streamer, Brady goes to Tampa for Perbix and Nick Paul and picks. Oh my God. No, we can't have Brady Tkachuk in Tampa. Oh my God. Just the thought of that. No. Run with King says Canada could have their version of the Bash Brothers if they brought up Burns to play with Doughty, right? All right, here, I want to read this. Hold on, that here. James said, if Canada loses another defenseman tomorrow to injury, who gets the call, Uyghur or Ekblad? I think they have to lose 3 people. I would assume it would be Uyghur, though, Jameson. But I think they have to lose 3 people. That's what I read online. Don't quote me. I read in a comment section, and nobody corrected the person. But apparently the rule was you can't add anybody until you lose 3 people. The assumption being if they lost another defenseman, they would have to have an extra forward play defense. That's what I read. Nobody corrected it, but I don't know for sure. But I would assume it would be Uyghur over Ekblad, right? I would assume that. Hi, Rick. Rick, yeah, I can see you now. No, on X, it's sometimes we can see the people on X. I can't make heads or tails of it, but I think that the chat went by pretty quick. Let me see if there was anybody else on X. I know NASCAR was earlier. No, that's interesting because earlier we had somebody on X that was commenting and we saw it, but I didn't see anything up above, Rick. It's interesting. I wonder if it has anything to do with if you pay for X or not, right? Yeah, Simon, the Bluefish are nasty, man. So Rosado wants to know what historical musical event would I time travel to and be a part of? Live Aid. I want to go to Live Aid in Philly. Yeah. Of course, I guess I was old enough to have gone if I wanted to at that point, but I didn't go. That I would definitely want to go to Live Aid in Philly. You pay for it, Rick? All right, thanks for letting me know. Because if you scroll all the way up to the top, the first comment was from NASCAR, a couple of comments, and he was commenting from X. So I'm seeing you now on YouTube, but I wonder if I can how far back was it? Because that's a little bit concerning that it would be inconsistent like that. And usually I'll see an X right next to the name because we don't get a lot of people commenting from Twitter. Are you commenting like under? No, Bridget was here too. Bridget was from X as well. And then NASCAR left a lot of comments here that I didn't see until I just saw now. That's so strange. NASCAR, I see that you left a bunch of comments from X, but they didn't. That's weird. I guess it must have jumped the chat so fast. Because what I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 comments in a row. I see, oh, that's you, Rick. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So what happened, Rick, was on my StreamYard, I have it blown up so I can read it. So I see about 5 or 6 comments at once. So if 5 or 6 comments come in at one time, I don't see them because it flips a whole page and I miss it. So it's just a matter of the chat was going too fast. So thank you for bringing that up, though. So now I see what happened. Gotcha. All right. Feel better now. All right. Did we trade for Brady yet? I'm telling you, Matthews just got a Rosado Hall & Oates closed out the Philly Live Aid. If you go back and look on YouTube, they closed it out. I believe with Billy Joel, Bonnie Raitt was there. Silver says, hey, what's up, guys? It's Civil chatting from X. Gotcha. You know, it was weird. Hold on. Vincent says, if Zito is cooking, you meant to say looking, but I'm going to say cooking. If Zito is cooking for cheap options, he might be looking at Fabro and Shen. Maybe Nashville's got to move some players out. I was assuming at some point Nashville would start to sell, but I don't know if they're going to or not. I don't know. I mean, I'll take Marchessault on the third line. Get Marchessault cheap for the third line. Move Rodriguez down. Solidify the fourth line, and we're good. And then all we need is a defenseman, right? And then we're gonna get Martin Paulo in the trade for Brady. So that's Ekblad gone. You switch him for Martin Paulo. I know he's not fantastic, but we need a body to replace Ekblad. Forsling can basically babysit anybody, right? All right, Chopper says 3-way trade. Ekblad to Chicago for Connor Murphy, 50% retained. Luosterainen to Seattle for Borgstrom. Chicago gets a 6th out of Seattle. Huh. And Borgstrom where? You think Marchessault is washed? Vincent, why not go to London? Because I want to see Hall & Oates in their prime. I mean, I did see Hall & Oates in their prime, but I want to see him at Live Aid. That was a cool show. I was old enough to have gone if I would have pushed it, but I didn't. You know, I could have made it happen, but I, you know, when you're young, you think, you could do something again later. Yeah, Borgstrom is good. Hey, Simon, it's now called the Rosado. I get it. I get it, Simon. I get it. Luosterainen in the third. I don't think Luosterainen, the one, is going to go anywhere. Now, I'm not suggesting that it's going to happen that way, but if we were going to move one of those guys, I kind of feel like he might move Rodriguez instead of Luosterainen. Now, I'm not saying that's the way I would necessarily prefer it to go, but Luosterainen's younger. Luosterainen's better defensively. Luosterainen's Lundell's partner, and Samoskevich is far more of a replacement for Rodriguez than Luosterainen. Plus, we got some of the other guys that are coming up. Luosterainen, I know he doesn't score much, but he has such a specific skill set that this team needs. Silva, I definitely don't see Facebook comments don't integrate with StreamYard. StreamYard and Facebook, they have a lover's quarrel. The StreamYard and Facebook, I can't stream to a Facebook group from StreamYard. They don't want third-party apps. Facebook is such a pain in the ass to stream to. They're constantly changing their rules. Yeah, I have to delete half the description for the Facebook streams because you're not allowed to have more than a certain number of links. Rosado must be using talk to text. Yeah. Yeah, so true. Aaron Lewis concert was great. Second row. How's your tooth? That's the important thing. How's your mouth? So, Chopper, I get what you're saying. They're different players. And I say Erod because I think that between Boquist, Samoskevich, we've got viable Rodriguez replacements where there's really nobody there's nobody that can do what Luosterainen does, in my opinion, next to Lundell. That's already on the team. You were feeling every chord, True? I bet. Yeah, I don't think we want Zadorov. Yeah, we can't afford a Z train. Now, if we were going to go that way, go get Gudis back. Like we said at the beginning of the stream, go get Gudis back and pair him with Mikkola. Mouth sore by the infection going, all right, that's what's important, Nick. You don't want that infection to linger. That's for sure. Trevor says, but if we traded mouthwash instead of Erod, then I couldn't confuse people by not explaining why we call this Luosterainen mouthwash. Oh, that's way too much for Marcia, so Rosado. I don't think we'd have to give that up. Plus, if Nashville was going to move on from him, they'd want to get younger, and Erod's already 30. I think we'd get him for like Sordiff or something. I'm scrolling up so that you guys that aren't Rosado have a chance to talk. Kate says a serious rebuild needs to happen with Nashville, but it won't because Trotz is an idiot. And I mean, the contracts. We looked at this yesterday. It wasn't just there was somebody else we were looking at with Nashville, where it's just like the term that they gave these guys. I think it was Marchessault, right? I think it was Marchessault is signed to like he's 38 or something. This should come up. Yeah, Jonathan Marchessault contract. Marchessault is getting $5.5 million. It expires at the end of the 28-29 season when he'll be 38 years old. So he gave him a 5-year contract. I mean, who gives a 33-year-old dude a 5-year contract like that? I mean, Marchessault is good, but damn, damn. They are screwed for years to come, because at best, you're looking at whoever would take on that contract, even at 50%, might still end up buying them out the last couple of years. It's hard to say. I know people say, people are saying he's washed. The whole team right now is just a whole disaster. So who knows how any one of them would play under different circumstances, right? Like if you suddenly just put, Marchessault next to Lundell and Luosterainen, could that work? Got to be better than Tarasenko, right? Certainly better than Tarasenko. Isn't Riley Smith in Pittsburgh? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was in Pittsburgh, or did he move on? Chopper says Marchessault had one great season with the Vegas Golden Knights and then dipped. Let me see. Yeah, I know. Run with Kings. I don't know. I know what they were thinking, but what's his stats? He's already 34. They signed him the contract just before he turned 34, giving the guy a 5-year deal. He's got 17 goals. He had 42 at Vegas last year. So he had 27, 25, 22, 18, then 30, 28. He had 42 at Vegas last year in a contract year, right? Right? Contract year. Jonathan Huberdeau, anybody? He's got 17 goals now. So he's kind of gone back to what his normal. If you look at the 2021 season, where the season was shortened, he had 55 games, 18 goals, 26 assists for 44 points. Right now, he's played one fewer game, and he's got 17 goals, 27 assists for 44 points. So quite literally the exact same guy he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I can see, and with 42 goals last year, I can see Nashville was kind of thinking, Smith is with the Rangers. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. What's his time on ice? He's a -14. His time on ice, he's getting 18 minutes a night. I don't know. I understand. Why is Nashville so bad? I don't understand how they're so damn bad. Hi, Pente. How you doing, bud? Yeah, sorry about that, man. It was a good two, first two periods were good for you all. Thought you guys had a chance. Kenneth says, get Gudis, pair Gudis with Ekblad. Have Gudis turn around and yell, stay back to Ekblad. Convince him he's the lookout guy. It's not a bad idea. Stammer's untradeable at this point, Rosado, with that contract. That's untradeable. Marchessault is not untradeable. He still is at least a 25-goal guy. The problem with the Panthers is, why would you want to take on that term? That's why would we want to do that? We have no need to do that. If he was on an expiring contract and he was going to be an ad for a playoff run, okay, I'd consider that. And another thing about Tarasenko is that why I would actually not want him, he went on the run with us, right? He already went on a run with us, so he's not fresh legs. I want somebody who didn't even been to the playoffs last year. Hi, Simon. Appreciate that. So I have plans for Valentine's tonight. I have plans not to be discussed here because there are children around. And then we're streaming. We're streaming all day Saturday. We got 2 games Saturday. I'll be live at noon on Sunday. So that's basically what we're doing. It's too cold to get out right now. You know what I mean? It's cold. It's windy. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, I think. So there's not much to do outside of the house. So, Runway King's last comment before I run. Nashville reminds me of the Heat when they thought LeBron, Wade, and Bosh would just come out and tear it up straight out. And then, yeah, I know, right? They had to lose. And then they figured it out. Yep. All right, everybody. I got to roll. I have to be completely ready to engage with life by 5 o'clock. So, appreciate all the support. Thank you all for joining me. Appreciate all the super chats. And tomorrow, all day. It's not one stream, though. We are going to take a break in between, obviously. But 1 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we'll be there. Recaps for both games. All right, everybody, go enjoy something for Valentine's. All right, any of you guys that got ladies, keep yourself out of trouble. All right, do the right thing. Do the right. It's not worth not doing it. It really isn't. Do the right thing. See you guys tomorrow.